Welcome to the Rural American Surgeon. I'm your host, Dr. Randy Lehman. On this show, you'll receive powerful insights and resources for rural surgeons. I'm a general surgeon in Northwest Indiana, and this show is tailored around the nuts and bolts of rural general surgery practice. But you'll find topics ranging from practical surgical tips to a host of others, including rural lifestyle, finance, training, practice models, and more. We'll have a segment called Classic Rural Surgery Stories, where you'll get a feel for how practice in the country differs from the city. Whether you're a surgeon, other specialist, or primary care, or simply someone interested in healthcare for rural America, I'm glad you're here. Now let's get into the show. Hello, listener. Welcome back to another episode of the Rural American Surgeon. Today we have a very special guest. We have the daughter of a rural surgeon, Charlotte Lehman. Welcome, Charlotte. Thanks for being here. Charlotte just turned how many yesterday?
8.
She turned 8 yesterday, and obviously Charlotte's my daughter. I'm doing a series called The Children of the Rural American Surgeon, and I want to know what's the perspective of the child that grows up as a rural American surgeon, because I think there is a difference, and I think there's some lifestyle things that you can do as a rural surgeon. One of my partners says, when his kids were in school, they didn't even know that he worked, which I think is tongue-in-cheek, but he says, he was there when his daughter went to school, and he was there when she got home. And so just the overall practice was not so burdensome, and he wasn't spending 24-hour night shifts on trauma call or anything like that. And so we're going to talk a little bit about just what our day-to-day life looks like. And then I'm going to interview a few other adult children of some rural surgeons that I know, some of which have gone into medicine, and we'll put a little mini series together for you on this topic. Have you ever been to your dad's work before?
Yeah, so many times.
So many times. All in one place? He always works in the same spot?
No.
What's your dad do?
Do lots of gross surgeries.
Gross surgeries? You kidding me? What's the grossest surgery that I do?
Gallbladders.
Gallbladders, man. You gotta be kidding me. And tell me about when you go visit your dad. So what do you do when you're at work? Are you going into surgery and scrubbing in with him and helping?
Ew, no.
What do you do?
Sometimes I stay for small surgeries, but I don't.
When we were in Minnesota, do you remember seeing me in the morning?
Nope.
Did you see me at night?
Barely. I didn't see you at all, pretty much. Only like once a week.
Residency's hard. How about now? Do you see me in the morning?
Sometimes if you don't get called in early.
What if your friend came to you and said, hey, I'm thinking about being a rural general surgeon? What would you say?
I am too.
You're thinking about it too?
Yeah.
No way. Hi, guys. This is Brittaney. I don't know. Did you ever introduce before?
No, not yet.
Okay. This is Brittaney, my wife. This is Being Our Ranch. So we're asking Charlotte about a few questions about what it's like to be the daughter of a rural surgeon. And I asked her some questions about residency. Did you hear that from the other room? So it's kind of painful to hear her say it, actually. But I said, how often did she see me in the morning, and how often did she see me at night? And now she was a lot younger. That was 4 years ago. So she was like 0 to 4 during residency.
No, we moved when I was.
When you were 4?
Yeah.
5?
No, not 5. Because
4.
I remember being 4 when we were in Indiana.
Yeah. But tell me about some differences between residency and now and urban versus rural practice.
I mean, you were gone a lot during residency, working really hard, trying to learn all the stuff that you needed to, I guess. And then when we got back, it was a little slow at first and then kind of picked up. But then you kind of reaching out to not just our area that we were living, but reaching out to the other rural locations and really started showing them, how important it is to have that care in your small towns. And I appreciate it too, especially when it comes to family members, I guess. What was your other question? Sorry.
No, I was saying difference between rural and urban practice, because to me, some of the biggest benefits to the rural practice is
not having to travel is a big thing for a lot of the people here. But
how the actual surgeon and their family get affected by the rural practice versus an urban practice. Because if you're in a trauma center, you kind of have to be there. and you have to be in-house 24/7 call, for example, a level 1 trauma center. So somebody's got to be there. And that's appropriate, and it needs to be that way. But it's obviously not like that for me. I just came off a week of call, and I got 0 consults for the entire week.
Yeah.
Right? Sometimes people just don't need surgery when you're in it, and that's a county of 12,000 people. Now, the average is about 2 to 3 consults a week is what I normally get. I probably do an average of 2 surgeries a week. It's usually an apnea or gallbladder, draining a perianal abscess, or thrombosed hemorrhoid, or abscess somewhere else in the body. The thing is that we don't have an ICU at any of the critical access hospitals that I operate at, and there's knowing your limitations. And so if you have that perforated duodenal ulcer, you're not going to be doing that case there either. So the things that really wake me up and bring me in the middle of the night are like esophageal food impactions. I have to do a fair amount of those, but a lot of the other ones, we just put them on at 6 o'clock the next morning. And really, like as a lifestyle goes, I spend every night in my own bed with I get up some mornings, 5, 6 o'clock, and I go in if I start my day at 7 or whatever. But a lot of times I start at 8:30 or whatever. I can get the kids to school. Sometimes I get off in good time, and if I don't, it's usually my own fault. And so there's a lot of flexibility. There's a lot of feedback from the community and just thankfulness. And you're actually like a person that's in the community, that's a recognized person, rather than just sort of being part of the academic, medical thing. So that's sort of what I was getting at. It's because it's so small, it's easy for me to know where they're at and bring them in. And then when I had my own office, that obviously I do whatever I want to in an office. When I'm working for somebody else, I have to be respectful of their space and everything. But they're able to get a perspective of what I do. And when I grew up, I was on a farm, and then my dad took a job with a construction company. I was able to go with him, and I feel like that
at FBI.
Yeah, at FBI building, and so that just helped me to see. Whereas if you're just kind of gone and then you come back, the kid doesn't really get to see, what you're doing. If it wasn't for that, I would have a hard time working at all, because I'd have to do something where like my family's sort of integrated with what I'm doing.
Like in Minnesota, you were always gone, and I only got to see you like maybe sometimes 0 times a week, and then
That's not true, but
mostly 1 time a week.
I never saw you 0 times a week. Okay, but I did see you 0 times. Lots
Actually,
of days.
no, when we went
Lots
to
of
church,
days.
that was pretty much.
Church was our big family day on Sunday, about every other week, basically.
Yes, I usually saw you 2 days a week, and it had to be a certain day.
no, we would.
It's like Sunday and then Sunday.
But you did come into the hospital and visit me
Right.
there too, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot.
That was fun.
And then we would sometimes get dinner or coffee across the street from the hospital too, right?
Remember that?
All right, Charlotte. Did you have anything else that you wanted to talk about today?
No,
Nothing?
I want to go home and do sewing.
Do sewing?
Yeah,
Because you got a little sewing machine for your birthday.
yeah, and pottery.
You got to speak up louder and be very clear with your enunciating and talking to the microphone, all right?
Yeah.
What are you doing when you go home?
I'm doing sewing.
Okay, shout at us. All right. Do you have any chores to do when you get home?
No, Grandpa already did that.
Grandpa did the what chores do you normally have to do?
Pigs, chickens, and cows.
Tell me what you have to do exactly.
I don't want to do it because I want to go home and play.
All right. Do you have to scoop out the pen every day?
No.
Some days, though. Yeah.
Do I have to?
Oh, yeah. All right, Charlotte. Well, I think you did a great job on this episode, and I really appreciate you being here. And you're welcome back anytime if you want to be on The Rural American Surgeon. So thanks for joining us.